Question here from Mike from Wellington, from Nova Scotia, and he trains at Josh Presley BJJ, and he's a brown belt. He does mainly no-gi, and he's 53 years old. His question is, he just had a really bad injury. He ruptured the pec major tendon, I think on his chest probably, like, right? And it's a similar injury that I had, and I have a very good story here to share my experience. It's one of the regrets that I have in my life that I didn't do the surgery. Sounds like he didn't do the surgery as well, but I don't know how bad was his one. My one was pretty bad. And he said that one of the challenges that he's having is that most of the people he trains with is 20 years younger than him, and they're very strong and they go very hard. And he's trying to figure out like a more efficient way to train jiu-jitsu and also to communicate that with his peers. Just because like he's 53 years old, he's getting a ton of injuries and that, and he's trying to figure out how to deal with all that. What I would say here is like, I'm 38 years old, but I can picture myself when I'm 53. I think when I'm 53 years old, there is a chance that I'm gonna be very picky with who I train with. Just because like I have shared this in many videos here, and one of my main goals nowadays with jiu-jitsu is longevity. I want to be that guy that's 77 years old and is on the mat training. And I do know that in order to achieve that, I'm going to need to be very careful with my body to make sure that I avoid as many injuries as possible, to make sure that I can reach that age and still train jiu-jitsu. So with that being said, I might end up being very picky if I train with. So I don't know, when I'm 53 years old, I don't know if I'm going to be that excited to train with a guy that's like 28 years old and is a brown belt competitor and this and that. I might be more that person that I'm 53. I want to train with people that's like 45, 50, 55. So my first 2 cents here for you would be like, if I was in your shoes, I would be very picky with who you train with. The other thing I would say is that one of the best books I ever read is called The Ego is the Enemy from Ryan Holiday. I hope I'm saying his name correct. And he says that one of the biggest mistakes that we do as humans is because of our ego. And I do think that there is a chance that you are going so hard against these young guys because your ego is saying that you cannot lose to them. So even though you're 53 years old, you want to go back and forth with them and this and that. If I was training with those guys, I would not care at all about losing to them, and I would kind of accept that. And so there's a chance that they go for submission. I feel that's a little tight, I tap. You know, like if I feel that the guy is going too hard, maybe I even stop the row and say like, hey, I'm gonna take a break and this and that. And you don't need to prove anything to anybody. And I think like especially training with younger and stronger people, you do have to be very careful. You know, like so.